today we are going to be going over how to hit a two-handed backhand. The progressions and steps that we're going to be going through is like the same thing that I would be doing if we were in an in-person lesson right now. So let's get started. So what is a backhand? Well, if the ball's on your dominant side, it's a forehand. If the ball's on your non-dominant side, it's the backhand. So for right-handed players, you want your right hand on the bottom, your left hand on the top. For left-handed players, you want your left hand on the bottom, right hand on the top, okay? The backhand, 50% of people will like the backhand more than the forehand because you have two hands, so you feel like you get a little bit more control. The other 50% won't like it because you have two hands, so you're not going to be as free, and then also it's on your non-dominant side, all right? Guys, I want you to think of the backhand the same way as the forehand, okay? Except, once again, you have two hands, right? So the first thing that you want to do is you guys want to be sideways, and then you want to start low and finish high. Once again, I want to be sideways with my body. I want to start low and then finish high. So again, I'm going to be sideways. My two hands are on the racket. Guys, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to be demonstrating righty. Guys, if you guys are lefty, switch it up. Same thing, but opposite hands, all right? So right hand's on the bottom, left hand's on the top, right? And I'm just going to start my racket low and then finish over my shoulder to high. So let's do 5 more. Low to high. 4 more. Starting low to high. 3 more. Low to high. 2 more. Low to high. And 1 more. Low to high. Okay, so once you guys are done your shadow swings, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to get a couple balls and do some drop feeds to start and really get the motion, okay? You don't need to be with a partner, with a coach right now. All I ask you to do is, instead of letting the ball bounce once, you're going to let the ball bounce twice, so you have some time to really take the racket back. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to toss it up. You're going to start low, 1, 2, and then you're going to go to high. So you're going to toss the ball up twice, bounce twice, low to high. Let's do 3 more. So once again, I'm tossing the ball up, letting it bounce twice, low to high. 2 more. Tossing the ball up, letting it bounce twice, low to high. And 1 more. Tossing it up, bounce twice, low to high. So why do we let the ball bounce twice when you guys are doing drop feeds for your backhand? It's because you have, like for the forehand, right? If I take the racket back, I can bounce and hit. But for the backhand, you don't have time to put both hands on the racket. So if I bounce it once and I take it back, it's going to be too fast. So once again, guys, when you guys are practicing this drop feed for the backhand, always let the ball bounce twice so you have time to set up and then hit. Notice, guys, when I'm going low to high, right? Look at my elbows once I'm done. My elbows are up. I like to tell all my students, think that you're golfing, right? When you golf, you want to swing, hold your finish, see where the ball goes, Tiger Woods, right? Same thing for the backhand. So once you're done and you go over your shoulder, you want to hold your finish. You want both your elbows to be pointing towards the court. So you want to start low. That's number 1, low to high, right? But now what I want you guys to think, once you guys get that, is that you guys are finishing with your elbows pointing towards the court. So let's do 3 of those, okay? So here we are. I'm going to let the ball bounce twice, and I'm going to point my elbows to the court. I'm going to let the ball bounce twice. 2 more. Point the elbows. So I want to get my elbows up. What a lot of players do is that they stop their swing. They go here, here. Guys, you want a full swing. So by pointing your elbows up, it ensures that you get a full swing every single time, okay? So once again, I'm going to go bounce twice and elbows are up, okay? So guys, that's tip number 2. Tip number 1 is going low to high. Tip number 2 is elbows are up every single time. I like to tell all my students now, we don't really have to wear masks in Philly anymore. Guys, I want to see smiles right on the face. I want to see teeth, and I want to see elbows, all right? So 2 things I want you guys to do. Number 1, I want you guys to smile, and number 2, I want you to show your elbows. Just a bonus tip, once you guys master this elbow thing, right, wherever you point your elbows to, the ball is going to go. So if you guys want to go cross court, I'm going to point my elbows cross court. If you guys want to go down the line, you're going to point your elbows down the line. So let's demonstrate real quick. So again, I'm tossing the ball in it, bounce twice. 1, 2, we're going to go cross court. I'm pointing my elbows cross court, so my elbows are facing cross court. If I choose to go down the line, let the ball bounce twice, point my elbows down the line. So if you guys ever want to move your opponent, all you have to do is just point your elbows. Wherever you point your elbows to, the ball is going to go. So I'd like you guys to try that, see what happens, all right? And now, once you guys get the low to high and the elbows up, there's one more tip that I want you guys to think, all right? What hand does the work for the two-handed backhand, okay? It's your top hand. Your top hand does all the work for the two-handed backhand. If you guys are swinging and the ball's going long and you're going over your shoulder, right, and you can't get it in, this left hand's going to do the trick. Or the right, so left hand for the righties, right hand for the lefties. So guys, all my righties out there, I want you guys to think, the left hand does the talking, the right hand does the walking, all right? The left hand is the Uber driver, the right hand is the passenger just along for the ride, all right? For the lefties, the right hand does the talking, the left hand does the walking, all right? So all the backhand is the opposite hand forehand, all right? So for my righties, it's a left-handed forehand. All I'm using is my left hand when I'm hitting this backhand. This hand does all the work, right? My top hand. My right hand, my dominant hand, is just along for the ride. So what's doing all the work in this stroke is my non-dominant hand. Once again, I'm just going to put my right hand, my dominant hand on, and it's just along for the ride. By utilizing your non-dominant hand, your left hand, again, for the righties, right hand for the lefties, you guys will be able to hit spin, more consistency, more power. It's the cherry on top. It's going to put your backhand together. So I want you guys to now start using that top hand, okay? So you're gonna let the ball bounce twice and really use the top hand. Okay, so I gotta get under it. Here we are. I'm gonna let the ball bounce twice and use my top hand. So I'm just using my left hand, right? And another great drill, so you guys can really get that down, right, is you're going to have your racket in your non-dominant hand, and you're just going to bounce and go low to high with your non-dominant hand. This is a great drill to really teach you how to get that feel of that non-dominant hand. Guys, when you guys do that drill, don't worry where the ball goes, okay? It doesn't matter where the ball goes. It's just that you're getting the concept of using that non-dominant hand, okay? So use that top hand. Once again, do some drop feeds with it, with only that hand, and then maybe put both hands on the racket and then hit. So another great drill to do, right, is you guys want one with the non-dominant hand, and then you're going to hit with two hands, right? Okay, another good drill that you guys could do, right, to really get this left hand, it's going to be sideways, right? You're going to swing over your shoulder, and you're going to take your dominant hand off the racket and wave to your opponent. So I'm going to be sideways. I'm going to go over my shoulder and take my non-dominant hand, take my dominant hand off my racket. Two more, going over my shoulder, taking the dominant hand off, and one more over my shoulder, taking the dominant hand off. So I'm going to swing, do a couple of drop feeds, right? And once I'm done, I'm just going to take my dominant hand off my shoulder. So here we are, I'm gonna let it bounce twice, take it off my shoulder. Okay, do one more, here we are. Let it bounce twice, take it off my shoulder. By doing that, it's going to teach myself, once again, to utilize my non-dominant hand. So once you guys get that, it's time to put it all together. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the slinger bag over here. Guys, I put a link in the description. You guys are interested in purchasing the slinger bag. It's a great tool to use, especially if you don't have someone to hit with. I love using it in all my videos. It's super portable, easy to bring. Once again, guys, I put a link in my description. If you guys DM or comment saying that you use my link, I will give you a discount on the best balls for the slinger bag. These balls last forever. I'll drop a discount. It's the Wilson Trinity balls. These guys, these balls, they do not die. They just wear down. So you could have them for a whole summer if you play once a week, and you'd be perfectly fine with them. So let's go with the slinger bag, okay? So we're going to start low to high, right? And we're using our top hand, right? Our top hand is doing all of the work. So low to high. Okay, so I got to start lower, right? So here we are, low to high, using my top hand. I'm going to move this back. Low to high, using my top hand. Let's do 5 more. Okay, so I got to use my top hand a little bit more. 4 more. 3 more. 3. 2 more. Here we are, 2. and one more. Now, I want you guys to think about something, right? Or notice something, what I'm doing. Once I'm done, I'm pointing my elbows up, just like we said, right? So I want you guys to hit and really exaggerate your elbows going up once you're done. So you want to point your elbows up and pause, all right? So make sure your elbows are finishing upward every single time. Let's do 5 more. So I'm just exaggerating with my elbows every single time. Let's do 4 more. Here we are. Elbows are up, and I'm using my top hand every single time. All right, elbows up, top hand. Here we are. All right, wait, sorry, wasn't ready. Forehand. Okay, here we are, back to back hands. Let's go. So I'm using my top hand, elbows are up. 4 more. And if I point my elbows to the right, the ball's going to the right. If I point my elbows to the left, the ball's going to the left. So to the right and to the left. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys the drills that we can do. So you guys can do one non-dominant hand and then put both your hands on. Once again, I'm gonna do one non-dominant hand, get the feel for it. I'm gonna put both my hands on. Let's do one more set. So I'm going to do one with my non-dominant hand, and I'm gonna put both my hands on. One, getting the feel for using that top hand, and then I'm going to do the same thing but with 2 hands, the next drill, right? So you're going to do one, you're going to take your right hand off, and then you're going to do one with both hands. So take my right hand off, wave, and then I'm going to use both hands. Once again, I'm going to take my right hand off and wave, and then I'm going to utilize both my hands. This is going to teach me more spin, more feel for the 2-handed backhand. Here we are. Sometimes it takes a delay. The balls go into this little oscillator thing. Sometimes they get jammed. We might have to check. Here we are. Okay, so top hand off, waving, right? And I'm going to utilize both hands, okay? Taking my top hand off, and now I'm going to use both hands. Here we are. Both hands. Do one more set. So top hands off, and I'm using both hands, right? So I'm going low to high. Let's turn the slinger bag off for 1 second, all right? So once you guys master the low to high, I want you guys to just add one more thing, okay? So you guys want to make sure you take the racket back, then drop, then go low to high. So before, once again, we worked on going low to high. Now what I want you guys to think is I want you guys to take the racket back first, then drop, then go low to high. So once again, I'm taking the racket back first, then drop, low to high. Notice when I take the racket back, drop, low to high, I want you guys to think that you're making a C. Watch, right? So when I take the racket back, that's the top of the C. Then when I drop, that's the curve of the C, and then I'm going over my shoulder. Once again, when I take the racket back, that's the top of the C. Then when I drop, that's the curve of the C, and then I'm going over my shoulder, all right? When I take that racket back, 2 things to make sure that you're in the proper position is number 1, the strings are facing to the side, and number 2, the tip of the racket is pointing back. So when I turn and I take that racket back, I want to make sure my strings are facing to the side and the tip of the racket is back. Then once I'm in this position, I want to drop the racket, right? And then just work on the low to high that we just went over. So over my shoulder, elbows up. So let's put it together with the slinger bag. Here we are. So I'm going to take my racket back, drop, low to high. So 3 steps. 1 is back, 2 is drop, 3 is low to high. 1, 2, and 3. And once I'm done, I'm pointing my elbows up. Here we are. Let's put it together. So back, drop, low to high. So I'm going to take the racket back, drop, low to high. 5 more. Back, drop, low to high. 4 more. Back, drop, low to high. 3 more. Back, drop, low to high. 2 more. Back, drop, low to high. And last one. Now, if I want to swing harder, I'm just going to start accelerating a little bit more and using my racket speed. So I'm just going to be accelerating using the left hand. That left hand is going to be what makes that ball dip in every single time when you hit. All right, so I gotta get under it. Here we are, use my left hand. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3 more. So if ever goes long, just has to use my left hand a little bit more. 2 more. And last one, here we are. All right, so that is the 2-handed backhand. Guys, try all these tips. I hope you guys learn some tips and tools to hit a proper 2-handed backhand. Guys, it's hot out here. Whew, I'm out of breath. Super humid. I think it's going to storm later today. But once again, just to review, step number 1, you guys want to be starting low and then going high. Step number 2 is once you guys get the load high, you want to start low to high, finish with your elbows up. Step number 3, right? You guys want to be using your non-dominant hand, using your top hand to generate the pace and power of the racket, right? So I'm going to start low to high, and I'm going to use, I'm right hand, so I'm going to use my left hand when I'm going up. Once I get that, I'm going to start thinking about taking the racket back, then dropping, then going low to high, right? So back, then drop, then low to high. So I'm going to take the racket back and then proceed with my swing. Guys, if you guys can put all these tips together, you will be able to hit a 2-handed backhand. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments in the comments below. Once again, I put a link to the slinger bag in the description. So have a good one and happy hitting.